Did we all hear the magic word? Scurrying. So I've had that word in this presentation for 4 years, almost. It was descriptive, and that's why the guy said it. That's what he saw, what he observed. There's really a tale of two kinds of people going on. You have the nice lady in yellow, Audrey, and I'm not picking on her, God bless her, but I worry about her. She is, I know her to be now a prime candidate for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Here's what I know about that. Helplessness and uncontrolled fear are the prime engines of PTSD. Prime engines. So when I told you before the break to imagine, and I told you there were 2 reasons, and the first was stress inoculation. Stress inoculation is one of the preventative things you can do to keep yourself from getting raging PTSD. Okay? Here's what happens to all of us. In fact, here's how your system works, and mine, everyone. We observe something. It doesn't have to be a shooting, by the way. It could be eating cookies in the kitchen. Observe, either through taste, touch, smell, sight, sound. Any of our senses, we observe something. The next thing that happens is this great relational database of ours. We try to orient to it and figure out what it is, see if we recognize it. So that's how our process works. So we observe, and then we orient. And the next thing we do is decide. And then we act. So it's observe, orient, decide, act. That's how all of our process works. It's a loop. It keeps going. It's called the OODA loop, actually. If you ever want to study it, it's great. It's very descriptive, and it helps people understand better. It's called metacognition when you think about thinking. So the more you think about how you make decisions, the better decisions you'll get. And the more you train, the faster your decisions will be. Because when you see something happen, I'll give you an example. You hear a noise out there. Right away, do I recognize that noise? What is that noise? Is it a gunshot? No, it's someone outside with a chainsaw or something. We orient, right? We try to figure it out. If it's a chainsaw, what's our decision? Carry on with what we're doing and our action. If it's not a chainsaw, and in our orient cycle, we decide it was gunshots, like the lady in the video in the cafeteria, pow, pow, pow. And we waited, she called them gunshots, so she knew it. And we waited 30 seconds or so, and then we heard 4 more gunshots. And so then we decided to panic. That's what she said. So observe, orient, yep, those are gunshots. Decision, panic. That was her option. We all come with something from the factory. Have you heard of fight or flight? We come with that. It's fight, flight, or freeze. Factory equipment. We all have it. It's inefficient. It's actually a design flaw, and it's unpredictable and random, and there's no guarantee that you will fight when you should flee or whatever. It's just something that'll happen. You observe something happens, you try to orient to it, especially if you don't recognize it. If you've never thought about it before, like poor Audrey, the lady in yellow, I guarantee you that lady never told herself this could happen to her. She never took that stress inoculation pill, never once. So when it did happen to her, fight, flight, or what'd she say? We just dropped to the floor. We didn't know what to do. I don't even know if I'm safe now. Out here hours later with police and the media. I don't know if I'm safe now. She's in a bad way. And it's all because her OODA loop wasn't prepared. It wasn't ready. Now, fear is something that happens to all of us, and it can be a great motivator. And it's a lousy leader. And if it's our only option, we're going to a bad place. But it's not our option. It's not our only option. In fact, factory equipment for the price of free, we're going to talk about how to make that better, okay? How to add on to that factory stuff so that you don't have to go where poor Audrey went. We're going to start by talking about the way our minds go through life. And when we teach this to Marines or law enforcement or Pro Force or whoever, we use color codes to help people remember it. And it's very useful information, and go through it real quick. It doesn't take long. The first condition you might find yourself in is condition white. This is where you're relaxed and unaware of what's basically going on around you. You're relaxed. Here's an example. It's been a long week. It's Friday. I wish it was Friday. Right? It's been a long week. I'm going home. I'm going to watch a movie. That's all I care about. My daughter Anna said, we have to watch this movie. So I'm like, great. It's been a long week. So I go home. I don't know if I locked the door. I don't care. Did I mention I'm going to watch a movie? Sitting on the couch. Got some ice cream. Or a beer. And a beer. Don't judge me. That's condition white, okay? I don't give a damn. It's been a long week. Okay, I told myself 20 years ago, never will I be in condition white. And I break that promise every day because I'm still at least partially human. And that's what we do as humans. We slip into this all the time. So don't do that. And you don't have to do that. Because the antidote to white, and for the, again, the low price of free, we have condition yellow. I'm still relaxed, you're still relaxed, but now we're aware. We're not paranoid, we're not fearful, we're mindful, we're aware. Same scenario, long week, sitting at home, on the couch, with my daughter, with my beer and my ice cream, watching a movie. Only this time, not only do I know I locked the door, I also locked the screen. And you know what? I have a weapon of some sort. Maybe it's a gun, and it's in the desk right there, 7 feet away. Or my USMC K-bar fighting knife, it's in the couch with me, stuck here. Or my Louisville Slugger at the door. Hell, all three. Whatever. Nobody has to know. I'm not paranoid. But I know. I'm just aware. That's what we want. That's yellow. Be in yellow. Be in yellow. Wherever you go, be in yellow. Next is orange, specific alert. Say our ProForce guys here. They get an alarm at a classified repository. They have to respond to the alarms. They do that all the time. Specific alert. For me, on the couch with the beer and the daughter and the movie, noise at my door. Specific alert. That's condition orange. Takes us to condition red, which is specific alert action required. So now the ProForce officer shows up at the alarm and has cleared this alarm 500 times, but this time there's an actual adversary, bad guy there, pointing the gun at him. Action required, he has to do something. For me, on the couch, with the daughter and the movie and the beer and the gun and the Louisville Slugger and the knife, my door gets kicked in. There's a bad guy pointing a gun at my daughter. Action required. That's condition red. Now the problem for people with condition red, if all you have is that factory equipment, it's going to be maybe one of those, and probably the wrong one, that action that's required. Okay? If you train like a ProForce officer, you'll have something called muscle memory, and before he even thinks about it, so the observation for him in the OODA loop was, there's someone pointing a gun at me. The orientation was, I know what guns can do, and I've been trained, and I've seen this before, my relational database recognizes it, and it leads to an implicit decision. He doesn't even have to think about it. He's diving for cover and drawing his own firearm, because he's done it so many times in training. Same thing for me on the couch, right? If I'm the kind of person that's gone to the trouble of all of that, I'm ready. I've thought about it. I've what-ifed it, okay? Yes, ma'am?
And you're ex-military, but people who are homeowners who do not own guns.
What about people what?
That do not own firearms.
Oh, I use the firearm as an example. In a second, I'll explain further. I'm not implying that anyone should have to have a firearm. What I'm implying is, not implying, what I'm saying is, whatever your own option is, that's your option. And if your system recognizes it as an option, then when something happens, that's where you'll go to. You'll go to what you recognize, whatever your option is. And I'll use an example that we can all relate to in a second. But anyway, if you start in white, you can't get to red. It's too great of a leap, you won't get there, it won't happen. You'll go to what we call in the Marine Corps condition black. And that's panic, also known as absence of plan, C scurrying. That's where you'll go. And to use another phrase from Colonel Grossman, he likes to point out, and he's right, that we should want to be more like sheepdogs and less like sheep, okay? We should all want to be sheepdogs. Sheep have two speeds. They have graze and stampede. That's what they have. That's condition white and condition black. And we don't want to be there. That's some of those people you saw in there, and the voices you heard. Mayhem, scurry. What else did you hear in that video? And here's the good news. What you heard was the girl saying we got pulled into a conference room, right? And some people pushed a copier against the door. And they told us to silence our cell phones. You know what? Someone in that room had thought about this, probably been to something like this, watched a video, had options, and exercised those options. Those were the options they had available to them at that moment. That was their condition red. There was a specific alert, some maniac is killing